Okay guys, I'm going to put this video together looking at market structure on different time frames, putting things into perspective and why it's important to have some patience with the market in these times. So the first example that I'm looking at is Chainlink on the 4-hour time frame. As we can see, it doesn't look great right now. It looks a little bit heavy. We've seen a high followed by a lower high, a low followed by a lower low. So I can see why people may panic looking at this kind of time frame or even lower right now. Short term being bearish isn't totally unreasonable. But if we move and have a look at the daily time frame, the most recent swing low, which is at around $27.50, anything above that would be considered a high low technically on the daily time frame. So, nothing too concerning realistically since we seen this $10 kind of price range at the back end of last year. It did break out and it did just continue with no real pullbacks or corrections. So, having a little bit of time or some heavy dips isn't the most surprising thing. It isn't just straight up in a bull market, unfortunately. But yeah, if we take a look at the weekly time frame as well, again, it paints a slightly different picture. We've seen recently this $20 level retested as support on the weekly time frame. So that was kind of like a nice clean SR flip with the wick high of last August, and now we may see the same thing again. So where we've seen a little bit of resistance at around this $25 level, we may actually see price come back down here somewhere and retest that as support before continuing upwards. If we move to the second example, which is Curve, again, the 4-hour isn't looking great. It does look a little bit heavy. Plenty of reason to panic when price is, minus 13% on the day. However, if we actually take a look at the daily time frame, we can clearly see that since price really got moving around 6 weeks ago, we've done around a 7x. So some pullback, some correction isn't totally unreasonable at this point. Fair to say on the daily, it doesn't look great. We can consider this a bearish retest. It had a bit of resistance. It came into support with no real closes below the level, and now we're struggling to close back above the level. So it looks like we could see a little bit more downside in the short term. But again, putting that into perspective on the weekly, when you see this kind of huge move up, it isn't totally, unreasonable. So anything above the bottom is considered technically a higher low. Will price retest, the recent highs at 80 cents to $1 around there? It'd be a huge correction of 75 to 80%, that kind of area. So in a bull market, it may be unlikely, but anything above that is going to be considered a higher low, which is great for bullish market structure in the longer term. The last example we're going to look at is Bitcoin. So similar to Link, we can see that we've now seen a break past the most recent swing low. Maybe this will be followed up with a bit of a bearish retest. Price could come into here, make a lower high and continue this kind of pattern downwards in the short term on the 4-hour. Does that mean I'm bearish in the long term? Absolutely not. If we look at the daily, it's very different again. So we could actually retest this level here, which was resistance at around 4140k, and we would actually see that bullish market structure still in place. Anything above the recent 2930k bottom is going to be another higher low, which is what we want to see in a bull market. Now, if we take a look at the weekly, there is actually quite nice confluence with the daily time frame. So again, if we take a look at where we may see the next SR flip, it could be around this level here, which falls actually within that kind of like 38 to 42k range. So there's a daily time frame and a weekly time frame, which look quite good together there. it'd be quite a heavy correction in terms of from the most recent top, if that was the local top, of around 30 to 35%, which is historically what we, tend to see there or thereabouts. So I think it's just about having perspective right now. It don't get sucked into the lower time frames, depending on your trading style, of course. I think for people who are more looking to invest and trade, it's definitely wise to look at these time frames. For myself, I'm here for the long haul, and accepting that higher lows in net worth are going to be a thing. It can't just go straight up forever. So, I'm looking at this as a potential short-term correction, and then I'm sure throughout the year will continue to trend upwards. Until I see signs that that's going to break down, I can only be bullish. So yeah, I hope this video was useful, and if you would like more of these kinds of videos, just let me know, and I'm happy to put some more of my thoughts out.